some parents are thinking with same mindset that someone will come to their door knocking for their daughter's hand. While on the other hand, boys who are looking for Rishta at that specific time have no idea that such and such girl even exists.
I think from the time that we began our search to the time that it ended was almost 2 years. And I think except for maybe one or two, pretty much everybody else rejected me.
Among the youth, I would say that they look more for compatibility. They're looking for someone that they click with, have the same interests, etc.
हर तरफ फिक्र को दौड़ा के थकाया हमने कोई दीने मुहम्मद सा ना पाया हमने.
Everywhere we look, successful marriages seem to be becoming a rarity rather than a common occurrence. As trust in the institution of marriage itself declines, we ask whether our criteria for finding the one is realistic and attainable, or whether we are dooming ourselves to failure at the very start because of the impossibility of our demands and judgments.
We should remember that expectations are not developed in one day. Children spend most of their time outside home, knowingly or unknowingly. They are being influenced by the environment and society around them. They see from their childhood that their friends have open relationships and they talk about it. When marriage process starts, they are thinking with the mind which was made up living in this society.
The Ahmadiyya Muslim community's system of Rishta Naata was established by the promised Messiah ﷺ, Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad himself, to enable members of his community to foster the mutual bonds of relationship and to save them from ill effects and bad outcomes. Suitable arrangement should be made for the marriage of the boys and girls. Majmua Ishtiharat, Volume 3, page 50. Today's episode of Balance will ask those administering these services to share how the system of Rishta Naata works and adapts to the challenges they face, and also speak to those who have utilized the system to discover the reasons they feel resulted in success or failure. Dr. Alia Rahim, the National Outreach Secretary for Women in Canada, shares valuable advice received by beloved Hazur, may Allah be his helper, during the National Office Bearers Mulaqat in 2020, which highlights the essential need for Rishta Naata in modern times.
Hazur Anwar Ayyada Allah Ta'ala bin Asal Aziz, he said that people are scattered all over, far away from each other. Boys and girls are studying in different universities. Families don't know each other. That is why the rishtas are delayed. So we should facilitate this by using Jamaat Rishta Naata system.
Rishta Naata services are not to be confused with dating apps or other matchmaking websites available which are neither endorsed nor run by the Jamaat. Rishta Naata benefits are provided free but are only available to those Jamaat members who have been verified as genuine. The department strives to provide introductions leading to successful proposals in the strictest confidence. We asked Dr. Aziza Rahman, the National Rishta Naata Liaison for the USA Women's Auxiliary, to share what this entails.
And in this profile, they put their name, their age, where their Jamaat, where they live in the country, and their education from profession, and also some personal details such as their interests, their hobbies, some family information if they want to, and also their spouse preferences, what are they looking for. The facilitator's job is to get to know the candidate, find out what they're looking for and to help them. to find a rishta. In addition, the candidate can now go into the search feature of the database and select up to 3 profiles that they might be interested in. We don't actually share photographs on the website, and photographs then can be shared by the family when they are ready to do so.
A significant factor in Rishta Naata is that in many cases, it's the parents or close family members who are registering on behalf of the candidates rather than the candidates themselves. We asked what impact this had on the decision-making process.
Yeah, we prefer that the candidate creates their own profile because when the parents, usually the profiles that are created by the parents have very basic information in them. And it's very important to have open communication between the parents and the child, because sometimes the parents may not really know what their children are thinking. The ratio of girls to boys in the database, we don't have as many boys registered. The ratio is about 2 to 1.
When parents and their children are chasing diverging goals, is it any surprise that they're pulling in different directions and not achieving the success they desire? Parents must consider the consequences of what they, themselves, are asking for, as well as what they are teaching their children to place value on.
We have seen people losing physical beauty with age or sickness, but having fear of Allah is such an asset which increases and multiplies over years.
Nor are men immune from being judged. Their financial status is among the top reasons cited for rejecting a proposal, as parents demand that the boy and girl live independently and are debt-free. This leads to an expectation of both partners continuing to work full-time to have a quality lifestyle, as well as preventing them from getting married at an optimal age until they can achieve it. Dr. Bilal Rana, serving as the USA National Secretary for Internal Affairs, highlights the dichotomy here.
You can postpone your marriage until you're rich and say, I did this by myself. Why should I share it with you? Or you can get married young and say, we built this together. We didn't do this on our own. How could I ever leave you?
What happens, though, when despite your efforts, you fail to make the potential match in the desired time frame? We asked Munazza Khan, the MTA Canada Women's Coordinator, to share the emotional toll repeated rejection can have on a person's self-esteem and desire to participate in the process.
It really works on your self-esteem in a negative way, and you begin to wonder, what's wrong with me? Why is everybody just saying no to me? And why doesn't anybody like me?
Each candidate, we have a history, and where we see that a candidate is declining again and again, and we have tried many times, then we will speak with them and try to find out what is going on. Many of the reasons given are incompatibility, or they didn't like the profile, or didn't like the picture, or education, age, or maybe because they don't want to move to a different part of the country. And actually, those reasons, they're cited far more often than the reason for declining a rishta because of istikhara or dua.
We should seek help and divine guidance through prayer, because we as human beings have limited knowledge and we don't know what is best for us.
The illusion of the grass being greener or waiting for something bigger and better is leading our society into real danger. If our intentions are not pure, how can we expect the results to be? If we cling to the past and refuse to give up false standards of perfection, we should not be surprised if this has negative consequences. It is only by following the true teachings of Islam that we can hope to prosper, as explained by beloved Hazur, may Allah be his helper, in his meeting with the National Office Bearers for the Women's Auxiliary of Bangladesh in November of 2020.
देखें जी, हमने तो कोशिश करनी है और मैं कोशिश करता रहता हूँ, लड़कों को समझाता भी रहता हूँ। आन रसूल सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने यही फरमाया है कि तुम लोग जो किसी से शादी करते हो तो कुछ खुसूसियात की बिना पे करते हो, या उसका ख़ानदान देखते हो, या उसकी शक्ल देखते हो, یا اس کی دولت دیکھتے ہو، لیکن ایک مومن جو ہے اس کو ہمیشہ عورت کا دین دیکھنا چاہیے۔ اب مسئلہ یہ ہے کہ اگر لڑکوں میں دین نہیں ہوگا تو وہ لڑکیوں کا دین کس طرح دیکھیں گے؟ جب لڑکوں میں دینداری پیدا ہوگی تو پھر وہ یقیناً ایسے لڑکیوں سے شادی کرنے کی کوشش کریں گے جو دیندار ہوں۔ مسئلہ یہ ہے کہ جب لڑکے کی شادی کا معاملہ آتا ہے تو مائیں کہتی ہیں کہ ہمارا بچہ ہے جو ہے ہم اپنی مرضی سے اس کی شادی کریں گے، اور جب لڑکیوں کی عمر گزر رہی ہوتی ہے اور لڑکیوں کے رشتے نہیں ملتے، جب بڑی ہوتی ہیں تو پھر مائیں اور باپ کہتے ہیں کہ ان کی جماعت شادی کروا دے، حالانکہ دونوں کو جماعت کے سپرد کرنا چاہیے اور کہنا چاہیے کہ دیندار لڑکے اور دیندار لڑکیاں آپس میں مل کے شادی کریں تاکہ جماعت کے اندر ہی لڑکے اور لڑکیاں رہیں اور آئندہ بھی نیک اور دیندار نسل بھی پیدا ہوتی رہے۔
Following these guidelines, the Rishta Naata department has continued its work despite the restrictions imposed by the lockdown. Introductions are now being made virtually rather than physically. Perhaps the pandemic has even brought families together and helped them focus on prayers and their relationships.
There's no way that I can express how grateful I am that I did have that opportunity to pray during that time. Even if the results are not exactly what we would have hoped for, I think every experience leaves us with some wisdom. Approach, this aspect of our life in a better way. And Allah Ta'ala is basically preparing us for when the right people come along and the right moment comes along, and so then we're ready to accept that.
And alhamdulillah, we actually seen a rise. We had 65 candidates who found matches in the Rishta Naata department that were registered in our database.
So while we've barely begun to scratch the surface of this very complex issue, we see that to build lasting, happy marriages, families must be sincere and transparent during each stage of the proposal. Prayers, realistic expectations, and truthful communication between every party, whether parent and child, Rishta Naata department and member, or future couple, is vital, because we cannot afford to sit around and wait. Beloved Hazur, may Allah be his helper, reminds us that we must all work together to achieve success.
تو یہ تو کوشش ہے، مشترکہ کوشش ہے، مردوں کی بھی عورتوں کی بھی، یہ مل کے کرنی چاہیے۔ اس میں ماؤں کو بھی اپنا کردار ادا کرنا چاہیے اور باپوں کو بھی اپنا کردار ادا کرنا چاہیے۔ اس کے لیے میں کوشش بھی کرتا ہوں، میں توجہ بھی دلاتا ہوں، دعا بھی کرتا ہوں، اللہ تعالیٰ اس کی توفیق دے سب کو۔
In future Balance episodes, we will continue to highlight these and other challenges in the marriage process and lend a voice to the concerns facing our viewers. God willing. May Allah Almighty be our guide in all matters. Ameen.
ہر طرف فکر کو دوڑا کے تھکایا ہم نے، کوئی دین محمد سا نہ پایا۔